Nobody cared who was fucking who. All we cared about was beating the shit out of each other in a pit, because it wasn't like one of these circle mosh pits. It was like war zone. That's all we cared about. That was it. And Buck and Ron Athey and all them. They were very much all together, and it was a scene. And Buck was a gorgeous model. Buck had blonde hair, gorgeous model. And then later, Buck started transitioning and had to live through hell. And to this day, if somebody like runs up on Buck and I'm around, I will fuck you up. I have that motherfucker's back like it's nobody's business. But Buck,
because you were there at the start.
Yeah, Buck was, I'm saying was, Buck's still alive and very outspoken and very much a powerhouse in the trans community. But Buck would get assaulted. Buck would get beat up. Nobody understood what Buck was doing. And all of us as friends, they didn't care what Buck was doing. We were just like, it's Buck.
It's Buck, yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, well, Buck says this, and gay people that were looking for gay boys. Buck was dressed like a LA gang member, like a punk rock gang member and stuff, and found out that Buck had a snatch and would kick his ass. It was just like, why the violence? Why, if you want to be passionate and fuck this person, you're just going to beat their ass? You should have just brought that shit up.
That's a question I frequently...
Should have been like, cool.
Concerns me that somebody...
Buck put up with a lot and got a lot of negativity, and even in his there he is right there.
And that's the one that the transphobes want to have go into the women's restroom because
Buck
is just a woman.
Lived and still does live the trans life as it's real in LA before all these kids living out of their basement decided that they were going to be trans. And, the now version of trans is all like, well, if you want to do something, you have the right. We should all support you. Buck is all like, you should figure out what you really want to do in life and not have anybody influence you.
And just do it.
And do it. He did it. And, but like with this, I didn't have a label for what's going on now until I heard Buck call somebody a sissy crossdresser. Then everything made sense. Because you're like, I know you and Nikki and that pain in the ass.
Jenna.
Yeah, thank you. And you ladies decided to let loose of what was inside and become women. Beautiful women. And these motherfuckers are hiding in their basement, putting lipstick on, crying about shit when they're not even out there experiencing anything. They hear about something, but they never left their basement. And then they're like, well, this makes me feel bad and all this other shit. Like, what about you? What about you who fucking all your kids, your colleagues, your ex, and I'm not going to go into personal shit, but I've heard all of this.
Yes.
That you still stood the fuck up and went outside and had to deal with people in your face yelling or dealt with some type of negativity going towards you, like whether it's bad looks or people's attitudes or being denied at places or whatever. You lived it. They lived it. These motherfuckers are in the fucking basement crying about shit that never happened to them. Buck called them sissy crossdressers because there's no proof that they're even sexual. They're hiding.
This is a whole big issue, but
I understand your views because we've talked about them, and I respect your views, and I understand Buck's views, but I've known Buck so much longer, and I've known the shit that he has put up with, and the fact that anybody even questions him. Like, you can question him. You went through the whole transition. I don't know if people know, but you went through the whole transition as far as I'm going to get into that because that's your own personal business.
Oh, yeah. I've discussed having had surgery and all the other things.
You got the rearrangement.
I went
You
all
went,
in.
fuck, you jumped in the goddamn deep end, grabbed your phone out of the bottom of the lake, the harbor. You jumped straight in and dealt with it. There was no turning back for you. There's no turning back for anybody. I understand that Nikki and them, like, you know, what they do for a living.
Yeah.
If they did do what you do, they'll lose money and lose interest.
Yeah.
You know, but you jumped in. So to me, you and Buck are like true trans. And you stand up, you're on this side and he's on this side, and I'm in the middle, but I don't give a fuck because I'll kick somebody's ass for you too. But Buck's had my respect before any of this shit even became popular.
Before anybody knew what trans
Before it became
was.
popular. Like, you know, like what happened to furries?
I don't like to say popular. I just like to say
I say it because these people aren't doing anything. They're just
more open,
crying, and they have these crazy ass fucking opinions, and they're getting like crying and yelling and shit like this. It's like, really?
It's a difficult subject, and it's a difficult subject for me as a trans person to navigate to a certain extent, because
but it's
no matter what,
it's your own journey, it's their own journey.
And what I say is that, look, I can't speak for anybody else's journey. I can only speak for my journey and what I've gone through and what I view and what I needed to do. And it's an intensely and deeply personal thing. I mean, you having watched
it's a personal journey. It's
go
everybody's
through,
original.
Yeah.
Like, your journey is your journey. I personally, if I was having the desire to change and I was going to go in that direction, if I had questions or something, here's somebody who's been this way forever.
Yep.
I mean, I think Buck started transition like maybe the late 80s. Maybe 90, 91, something like that. And what do you have, 7, 8 years under your belt?
I've got 10 now.
10.
Yeah. 10 years.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, I am.
10. So here's people that live this, did this. I would ask them. I would be like, I don't know what I'm feeling here. I wouldn't go to some fucking therapist that's getting paid by the hour to listen to you and not give you any answers that are concrete just so you can keep coming back. And I wouldn't listen to anybody who's either hardcore pro or hardcore phobic on the issue, because they're only going to say their own personal opinions and try to change.
Yeah.
But here's two people that have changed on both ends of the spectrum. And, I would trust both of your opinions. But, like,
did you do any of Buck's tattoos?
No, we keep talking about it. He called me. I mean, we texted today, and yeah. He's very busy.
Well, Baba, I think we could talk for hours.
Easily. Is that timer starting over?
A lot of
the fuck up.
That's like we're getting around.
Because I saw that shit go to 0. Now it's at 2:10. I'm like, uh-oh.
We're like getting to the hour point, and we try to keep these. And
this is that therapist getting paid right now because now you're in overtime.
Well, I hope you've really enjoyed doing this, because I'd love to have you come back and talk about some other things.
I definitely have. I didn't know what to expect. Some people are like, "Oh, she wants to talk to you about this," and I'm like, "Well, I can't talk about that." Or she wants to talk to you about this. I'm like, "I can't talk about that."